Parag Khanna, How to Run the World, Charting a Course to the Next Renaissance. Dive into the world of mega diplomacy with Parag Khanna's How to Run the World, Charting a Course to the Next Renaissance. Through this book summary, you'll explore the transformation of diplomacy over centuries and envisage its role in the modern era. Learn about the unique contributions of various influential entities, from entrepreneurs and activists to academics and celebrities, in shaping the world. Discover the key factors that drive diplomatic success, such as proactivity and collaboration, and delve into strategies for forming regional systems and attaining global security. With diverse examples and case studies, this summary will take you on a journey to understand how mega diplomacy can facilitate a better future for all.
Mega diplomacy. The author argues for a new diplomatic system that connects a vast array of actors who work together to create a better future. In an ideal world, all elements of society would work in perfect harmony. However, due to various self-interests, the world functions more like a chaotic mosh pit than a well-oiled machine. With different actors pursuing their own interests, it results in massive power struggles and collisions that impede progress. To change this situation, the author proposes a new diplomatic system called megadiplomacy. This system connects every influential force and makes them negotiate and work together with each other. Before getting into the specifics of megadiplomacy, the author explores the history of diplomacy. Diplomacy has existed for millennia and has evolved significantly. In ancient Mesopotamia, diplomacy was used to convey important messages from the divine from one city-state to another. Later, the Greeks used it as a tool for trade and politics, while in the 19th and 20th centuries, it became a secretive process of negotiation carried out by the ultra-powerful in smoke-filled rooms. In the modern world, diplomacy is far more than just a means of negotiation in defense against war, especially with emergent technologies. For diplomacy to be mega, it has to be a complex web that connects a vast array of actors who work together to create a better future. Mega diplomats are the players in this new diplomatic system. They are a blend of politicians, academics, multinational corporations, religious groups, and more. They are ambitious but willing to negotiate and work towards common goals. The author argues that megadiplomacy is necessary to create a world where every element of society works towards a common goal, rather than pursuing their self-interests. The New Diplomats. Americans for Informed Democracy conducts a diplomatic simulation that involves non-nation state actors and hundreds of students to highlight the changing landscape of diplomacy in the 21st century. Diplomacy is no longer the sole domain of states. Entrepreneurs, activists, academics, and celebrities can also be effective diplomats, using their influence to forge meaningful connections. Diplomats must be proactive in their approach and understand the importance of collaboration. By teaming up with experts in fields like governance and development, diplomats can produce better policies and outcomes. Diplomats should aspire to be like Oxfam, which invests in pharmaceutical corporations to have a say in vaccine policies and makes meaningful connections through its authority. Finally, performance should be linked to promotion to ensure a proactive approach to diplomacy. Rethinking global security. War is a constant reality despite numerous global security efforts. Building regional security systems may be the more effective approach. We're already seeing successful regional systems such as the EU, UNASUR, and ASEAN. Independent diplomacy through organizations and NGOs can offer innovative and effective conflict resolution. The independent diplomat is an example of an organization that provides diplomatic services without being bound by government influence or red tape. Crowdsourcing is the approach used, allowing the staff to work directly with clients, offering more flexibility in keeping up with the latest developments. By prioritizing regional security and supporting independent diplomacy initiatives, the world may move closer to a more peaceful future. Rethinking colonialism. Is it possible to reframe colonialism as a solution to modern-day state fragmentation? This summary explores the idea that, with proper guidance, new colonialists can help struggling states rebuild themselves. Colonialism has been deemed a damaging practice, resulting in scores of states left in disarray and unable to form proper governments. Many former colonies, like the Congo and Afghanistan, have remained fragile even years after decolonization. They are unable to maintain infrastructure and tackle complex problems like stagnant economies. These nations often rely on foreign aid to feed their people, which renders them far from sovereign. The solution lies in diplomatic intervention, or new colonialism. Instead of acting as occupying forces, new colonialists should provide resources to help states become self-sufficient, resolving their issues independently. This will require the removal of rogue leaders and the empowerment of the citizenry to take action within their own domestic policies. While colonialism is indeed a complex and controversial concept, it can be a solution to the fragmentation of states in the modern world if approached with care and proper guidance. Focusing on niches, a lesson for developing countries. Developing countries, rich in natural resources, struggle to overcome poverty despite emulating emerging economies like those of the BRIC nations. The key to their success lies in setting realistic goals and focusing on niche markets where they can excel. Public-private partnerships and collaboration are central to sustainability and economic growth. Examples of successful countries like Nepal and Kyrgyzstan, with their thriving tourism industries, and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, with their focus on oil, gas, and shipping, highlight the effectiveness of this approach. By doing what makes sense in their economic contexts and doing it well, these countries achieved sustainable economic growth. Poorer nations can follow suit by identifying their own niches, building public-private partnerships, and focusing on sustainable economic growth. Breaking the vicious cycle. Despite good intentions, foreign aid agencies may be hampering actual progress towards poverty reduction. Dependence on outside aid hinders underdeveloped countries from achieving self-sufficiency. Rather than throwing money at the problem, organizations should invest in long-term solutions, such as building capacity, access to clean water, and infrastructure. An effective strategy involves focusing on the immediate needs of impoverished countries, rather than trying to eradicate poverty itself. By working with the communities on the ground and addressing their tangible needs, diplomatic systems can create sustainable progress towards self-sufficiency.
Khanna's How to Run the World vividly depicts the critical role of megadiplomacy, a complex web involving various diplomats to create a better future. The key highlights of this book summary range from the evolution of diplomacy and the proliferation of independent diplomats, to the necessity for proactive and collaborative approaches. Additionally, the summary highlights the importance of regional systems, strategies to stave off colonization, public-private partnerships for developing countries, and the pitfalls of aid dependency. Ultimately, Khanna argues that a new diplomatic system that encourages collective negotiation and cooperation among influential entities can steer the world towards a brighter and more harmonious future.